the healing power of gratitude and appreciation. Just how potent is the vibration of gratitude in your life? Well, we're going to talk about that and more on today's show on Elevate Consciousness, the Awareness Shift, Waking the Quantum Self. Stay tuned. Welcome to Elevate, the Awareness Shift, Waking the Quantum Self. I'm Karen Swain, your host, and you're listening on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 107.7 and 105.3 FM, syndicated radio all over the world. Hello, and welcome to another show, Elevating Consciousness with Karen Swain, as I said, on the United Public Radio Network. We're going to do something a little bit different today. It's the 27th of November, Down Under, which is Thanksgiving in the USA. And Kristen was going to come on with me, but she had something else that she had to attend. Hey, Thirsty. And Divine Union, hello, how are you, peeps online? Yeah, so we're going to talk about gratitude and appreciation and the potent power it has in your life. Hey, Heidi, how are you? I was going to get Kristen to talk about what Thanksgiving is in the States because I understand it a little bit, but, you know, being down under, we don't actually have Thanksgiving. I've always thought it would be so cool if we did because I think it's such a great sort of secular holiday. It's not really attached to any religion, which means it doesn't exclude people. But I think it's attached to your history. Happy Thanksgiving. Hey, Brady. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. I know Brad's in Denmark. Do you celebrate Thanksgiving in Denmark, or maybe it's just Americans? Yeah, anyway. So, yeah, as I said, it's a celebration that we can all do, not attached to a religion, but it is attached to the history of the United States and the Pilgrims. And, yeah, I don't actually know too much about it, but I like the concept of it. And I think that the concept of Thanksgiving or giving thanks or gratitude or appreciation is something that we could do every day in our lives. So I wanted to do this with you all today. I wanted to talk about the potent power of gratitude in your life. And so Brady says, yeah, you do personally with your family, but the country doesn't. I know. I was watching some terrible Netflix program, as I do, you know, such a disco life that I have. I'm alone in front of the streaming services every night, but I do enjoy it. And I was watching all these dysfunctional people, you know, carry on and cry and lie to each other, constant lying. It's an emotional show. I'm not going to tell you what show it is. And I was thinking of a quote that came from the book, The Afterlife of Billy Fingers. And it was about a man who died who was nicknamed Billy Fingers, and he came to his sister and spoke to him from the afterlife. And she puts out a lot of quotes. And one of the quotes is, you humans, you make stuff up and then you believe it. And I was thinking when I first heard that quote on a personal note, like we make stuff up about ourselves and then we believe it, you know, we make up or we believe things about ourselves like we're not good enough and not worthy enough and can't get what we want and all that stuff. But if you expand that, you humans, you make stuff up and then you believe it. Really, we make everything up and then we believe it. We are the creators of our reality. We make up stuff all the time and then we believe it. So, and when we believe it, it creates our reality, right? So that's how potent and powerful, Estee's having a laugh. That's how potent and powerful we are. But I was thinking about the celebrations that we have. You know, we make up all this stuff and we celebrate it either through our religion or through our society. How about we make up other stuff? I was thinking about Halloween and how Halloween, it's not, again, something that is generally celebrated down under. It's taken on. My daughter's in her 30s now, and I did participate a few times when she was a kid because I thought it was fun. You know, people like to dress up. But it's usually about people, you know, running around with hammers and knives in their head and blood and, you know, the scary thing. And I was thinking about it and thinking, Wouldn't it be great if we could turn that around and use something like Halloween, or maybe create another holiday to celebrate the mystical? I had Tanis Helliwell on the show this week on ATP Media, and we were talking about her life as a mystic, how she walks between the worlds and she's in constant contact with the elemental world, talking to the fairies and the elementals and the leprechauns and all that sort of thing, and the spiritual world, talking to people, dead people, or people who have transitioned out of the physical experience. Wouldn't it be great if there was a day that we could celebrate the mystical, the psychic, the telepathic? Let's create that. Let's create that. We could even hijack Halloween and make it about the mystical in a positive way, rather than about being terrified and horrified. And again, Thanksgiving is something like that too. We could hijack Thanksgiving, make it a global thing, about celebrating the power of gratitude, celebrating the power of appreciation. When we talk about law of attraction, when we talk about being the manifestors of our reality, we talk about frequency and vibration. So law of attraction says that which you vibrate, oh God, I'm losing it. Like attracts like, basically, like attracts like. So like vibration attracts like vibration. And so when we're tuning into an energy of gratitude, it's a powerful vibration. It is a vibration, is an aspect of love that we can actually only really experience here in the physical world, well, in 3D worlds, let me say, denser worlds, because when you're marinating in love, when you're on the other side and you're a spiritual being and all you know is love, then you really have nothing to be grateful for. The energy of gratitude is not something that really you can experience. Usually it's something when you come into the physical and maybe you're sick and someone brings you some flowers or gives you some healing and you're grateful for that, or someone does something nice to you and you're grateful for that. That's usually how we utilize gratitude. We're grateful for the nice things that happen in our life. But the nice things that happen when we're really grateful is when something awful's happened, when we've experienced something awful. I have a friend who fell down the stairs, bless her heart, sending love and prayers to you, Geeti, the beautiful Geeti. And she broke a leg. And she lives in a very high house and there's lots of stairs down to the road anyway. And all this love is coming at her and she's so grateful. But, does all this love coming at you have to happen because something terrible happens? And then that gratitude is evoked. So I want to talk about how we can use gratitude, not just for the things that we appreciate, the nice things, but how we can use gratitude, which is a frequency, which is an aspect of love that we come to explore and experience here in the physical dimension, how we can use gratitude as a healing tool in order to overcome or transform or transmute the negative things that are happening in our lives, or the things that are happening in our lives or in the world that we disagree with, that we don't want, that we push against. So I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone who's going to be watching this on the 27th. I was talking to my little tribe in the Inner Sanctum in the chat group that we've got on Messenger. And somebody said, who said it? I think Leslie said that Thanksgiving for the US is always on a Thursday. It's interesting that you always have it on a Thursday. So it's a Thursday here down under at the moment, but I suspect it's still Wednesday in most parts of the world. So think about 5 things that you're grateful for and write them down, or just think about them and why you're grateful for them. Brad says here, so he's an American living in Denmark. We make a big dinner for the commune where we live. Yeah, he's living in a place in Denmark. We'll get him on the show one day, where they live in a commune and they can come together and celebrate meals like the whole community, which I think is pretty cool. So that's nice that they celebrate that. I know that one year a friend of mine had some American friends out and he said, will you do Thanksgiving at your place? And I said, yeah, I'd love to do that. Invited a whole lot of people over, got the big table out, put it in the middle of the house, got everyone to sit around the table. And I wanted to do the ritual of, saying what you're grateful for. And I got so caught up with the cooking and the organizing and the greeting people and the introducing people. I completely forgot about that fact. And the night ended and I thought, oh, drats. I actually wanted to have this Thanksgiving dinner here in Australia so that we could go around the table and say what we were grateful for, which is not always easy when there are strangers sitting at the table, because it's kind of vulnerable to talk in front of strangers about what you're grateful for. Last Thursday in November. Oh, it's always the last Thursday in November. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Thanksgiving. So I'm going to do it with you now. What are you saying here, Alison? Reception is rubbish, but I'm here so far. Grateful for that. You're hilarious. Grateful for that. Yeah, I use gratitude and appreciation all the time in my life for healing, and I wanted to transmit this with you today. I wanted to do some healing with you today using the power of gratitude and appreciation. I remember hearing years ago from Esther Hicks. She was talking about the power, the subtle energy, the difference between gratitude and appreciation. And as I've talked about, gratitude is usually, not always, but usually something that comes from something that you've perceived that you were lacking, and then you receive it and you're grateful for. So it has a frequency still rooted in lack in some way. I don't know about that. You can be grateful for things. And this is something she said, but she said appreciation is a slightly higher vibration, which doesn't necessarily come from lack. It is you noticing something and being appreciative, like, oh, look at that beautiful mountain. Look at the sky. Wow, look at those thunderclouds. I was doing that the other day, looking at this. Sydney went through this huge storm the other day, and I was at the beach. It was hot. It was like 35 degrees Celsius in Sydney, and the beach was crowded, and then this big thunderstorm rolled over, and it wreaked havoc on the east coast of Australia. It wasn't too bad. It was just a lot of rain and thunder in my suburb, but it wreaked havoc elsewhere. Anyway, so I was looking up at the sky and saying, wow, how beautiful is this? So it doesn't normally come from a place of lack. It's just this open appreciation, open energy frequency of love and appreciation. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. This is beautiful. I love this. I love that. It's like the Pollyanna attitude, isn't it? The Pollyanna attitude. And if you understand the law of attraction, you understand that your power runs when you raise your frequency. Good on you. Yeah, I'd love anybody else. Heidi says, what she's grateful for: my breath, my sense, my loved ones, all in nature, the amazing night sky, and our beautiful bluest blue skies, our mile-high sunshine, and every phase of the moon. I'm a moon child. She's on a rampage of appreciation there. Love it, Heidi. Love it. My family, my friends, and what I'm most grateful for. Okay, I'm going to give you a bit of a. I just love Alison. The reception's rubbish. I'm grateful I can hear literally so many things. Yeah, think about 5 things that you're grateful for. Literally so many things to be grateful for. Absolutely, so many things to be grateful for. And when you've come up with 5 things, like, have a look. And this is for the people listening on radio through the network, and this is for the people listening to the playback if you're tuning in on any of the streaming platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble. We're on Twitch today as well. Odyssey, we're on Odyssey. I'm going to get the guys on the show from Odyssey. I just love that platform. I get no views on Odyssey, but I love the platform. Anyway, yeah, Heidi's grateful for the United Public Radio Network, or the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Same acronym, and all the hosts you are. You're a star. And have a look and examine what you're grateful for, and look and see how it's things that you appreciate, things that you love in your life. And then I'm going to ask you to write down all 5 things. Let's just leave it at 5 things that you're struggling with. I wanted to do this with Kristen, but as I said, Kristen had something else on today. She couldn't come with me today, but we can do it again. 5 things that you're struggling with, and have a look at those. And then we're going to do a healing on these 5 things, because the frequency of gratitude and appreciation is a healing frequency. I have done this in my life so many times. I'm going to tell you a story. When I'm a young single mother, I'm in my early 30s. The husband's left. I'm struggling with money. I'm working in the catering industry. I know I'm a healer, but I'm, looking for jobs that are going to pay me, because I haven't really set up shop as a healer and getting paid for it at this stage. and I'm struggling financially and stressing about money, stressing. And I ring the guy that I do catering for in the healing in the movie industry, like commercials. He would ring me and say, okay, there's a job on, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't constant work. And I just had to pay all the bills. And I've had this lesson a few times, actually. This was one of the first lessons. And so I'm reading all about the power of vibration, the power of law of attraction. I can't remember. I don't think I'd found the Esther Hicks information then. I don't remember who I was reading. Too many damn years ago that was. But anyway, and I'm understanding that the power of gratitude is going to change my life. But all I can do is stress. All I can do is worry. Where's the money going to come from? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to look after my child? How am I going to feel? I'm like just in that stress. I still have my guidance. They're kind of beating up on me, not really beating up, but they're sending me messages that I'm ignoring because all I can hear are my stressful thoughts. And then I'm like, right, I'm going to do this. Instead of stressing out, I lay on the couch and I stop the stressful thoughts by changing my frequency, changing my attitude, looking around my house. What can I be grateful for? What can I be grateful for? I think it was Louise Hay was someone I was reading in those days, and Oprah, we used to harp on about this too, the power of gratitude. She did so many shows about it. So I knew what to do. I just wasn't doing it. And I remember looking out the window, and I had a little backyard, and there were big trees at the bottom of the garden, top of the garden, swaying in the wind. And I just went into a meditative state, and I started to think about how beautiful that was. Like, wow, look at those trees swaying in the wind. How beautiful. And then I started thinking, I'm so lucky to live in Australia. You know, I live in this nice suburb, in this nice house. I have the opportunity to have a garden, to be able to look at these trees. I started to appreciate and be grateful for what I had. So I started to think about people in third world countries that were less lucky than me. What am I stressing about? I had a good life compared to them. You know, that sort of like talking my way out of a negative vibration and moving up the emotional ladder towards a more positive vibration. And if you've ever done this deliberately, I do this with my clients all the time, moving out of that stressful vibration to a better feeling vibration. There is such, when you do it deliberately especially, there is such an energy of absolute release and relief. It's like, oh, thank God, I feel so much better. It's like you stop tensing your body, you stop tightening everything, and there's just this release and your aura expands, your field expands, and you just you let in what you're asking for. I'm asking for more abundance, more money to pay the bills, work, whatever it is that I'm asking for. So lying on the couch, looking out the window, appreciating the trees and feeling good, like just in that place of feeling good. And the phone rings, and it's my boss at the time in the catering industry, in the film industry. And he's like, oh, I've got a job. I've got a job for you. It just came in, because I had spoken to him. Have you got any work? He's like, no work. And the job came in. And I remember putting the phone down going, boy, that was fast. Like, did that really happen? Was that just coincidence? Like, did I manifest that? Like, did that really happen? And at the time, you don't really understand how powerful you are. Did I jump timelines from no work to work? You know, it wasn't like I didn't win the lottery, but the stress of not knowing where the money was coming from was alleviated in that moment where the boss says, okay, you've got some work. Here's Alison, what she's grateful for. I appreciate my horses, my dogs, my ability to help people feel better, my son, a roof over my head. Oh, I'm going to cry. Yeah. I stress about significant health and financial issues. Yep, you're not alone with that one, darling one. You are not alone. What's Vladdy saying here? I don't have 5 things. I just have 2 things that I'm struggling with. Okay, that's good. It's good that you don't have 5 things, just 2 things. And Heidi says, I struggle with self-love, self-care, but healing organization and procrastination. All right, cool. Yep, that's good. I'm loving that you're saying this in the comments. Okay. So focusing on, you don't have to focus on all 5. Just pick one. Buddy says he's only got 2 things he's struggling with. Focus on one thing that you're struggling with. and try and find that appreciation or that gratitude for the situation. So let me pick one. I'm going to pick you, Heidi. I'm struggling with self-love, self-care. Yeah, let's look at why can I be grateful or appreciate that I'm struggling with self-love and self-care. This is a big one in the healing community, especially with people that are ascending, healers, light workers, empathic people, sensitive people. In this world of understanding that we're here to help, we're always helping everybody else, and feeling like we get lost in the mix. Like I'm not looking after myself. I'm always looking after everybody else, there for everybody else, but I'm not there for me. So I'm going to ask you, Lady says finances. Sorry, I'm laughing and wait. Yeah, self-love and self-care. I'm going to ask you, why is struggling with self-care and self-love something to be grateful for? What does it keep you doing, having that struggle? I remember doing this around money. Often when we're struggling, I was talking about this with weight with Kristen last week on Elevate. Both of us struggle with wanting to lose weight, and I wanted to do this with her, and I can still do it without her, the weight thing, because when we have something we really, really, really we want, like I want to lose weight and look better and feel better, and we don't have it, we don't feel grateful for it. We feel stressed out about it every time we think about it. Like every time I look in the mirror, I'm like, damn, we feel stressed out about it. And then I had this thought, keeps me on the earth. It's something I still have to overcome. It's something that keeps me here. It's like, if I had nothing still to overcome, would I still be here on earth? Like that was a thought that I had. It's not like a powerful, yes, that makes me feel great thought, but a good question, Karen. I also struggle disliking money and always struggle with my weight. Yeah, money and weight. Oh, okay, so money and weight seems to be on the table today. So yeah, we come into this third dimensional experience, this earth experience, this dense experience, to bump up against the contrast, to explore the path of polarity, good, bad, light, dark, health, non-health. We come here to explore it. Like that's what our soul is doing here. We come here for, I had Belinda Womack on the show, many channels the angels. Yeah, channels the angels. I've got a white dress on today, and I've talked about this, there's workmen all around the place, and walked out this morning and I had a white dress on, and one of the workmen said, "Oh, you look so nice today, Karen, you look like an angel." I said, "Yep, I'm doing a healing show today." So we're working with the angels today. So she said that, now I've forgotten what I was going to say, that Belinda Womack said, I can't remember what I was going to say. It'll come back to me. But, and what's Leslie saying here? Be grateful you can enjoy your food. There are people who cannot digest food properly, yeah, and they are underweight. Yes, that is true. That is true. Yes, I was talking about being here on earth. So we come here to explore the contrast. And when we're still working on stuff to overcome, it keeps us still being on earth. If we had overcome all our challenges, would we still be here? Maybe we'd be here in a capacity to only be as teachers and healers and spiritual masters. There's many here on the planet, something Belinda said also. She said during this time of the grand shift, of the movement of energy as we clock over to a new epoch, a new era, a new experience here on planet Earth that we've called the shift in consciousness, or the shift in energy and frequency and vibration. She said all the masters that have been masters that have walked the earth are back, and they've reincarnated back into physical form to help with this grand shift. So they're all back, the Buddhas, the Jesuses, the Gandhis, they're all here. They're all here helping us shift our awareness and consciousness, and to be more of the quantum self, understanding our powers of creation, our powers of thought. When I talk to my mob, part of my mob is the galactic mob, the Arcturians, which I see as this indigo blue color when I think about them. I don't see faces or people. Okay, they're showing me faces and people now. I've seen them before in my meditation. They've appeared to me as beings. But when I think about them, I think of them as this indigo blue ray frequency. They talk about the masters of mind, and we're here to master our minds. And so being grateful for things that you push against is a way that we master our minds. There's a beautiful saying that what you resist persists, what you are grateful for will serve you as it was meant to. So all the contrast and the problems that we're resisting bumping us up against in this earth experience is a part of the soul's evolution, is a part of what the soul is choosing to overcome and to learn how to master our minds, to master frequency and vibration, and to know ourselves as genius creators of our reality tapped into infinite intelligence or source energy. And so, again, I'm going to come back to gratitude. What is it that you can find? Write down what it is or think about what it is that when you're upset about money and weight and self-care and self-love, how is that something that you can be grateful for? Like, what is it? How is it serving you? I'm going to tell you the story of Byron Katie. I've told it many times. I'm going to tell it again. It is a video out there somewhere of Byron Katie, beautiful teacher. She calls herself Katie. 4 questions and a turnaround is her methodology of healing. She's talking to a man who's emaciated. He's had cancer. He looks like he's on death's door. He's got an eye patch. He's obviously had one of his eyes out or something in operations, had 1 million operations. And his question is, I want the cancer to go away. And what Katie does is it true? And when you look at this man who's on death's door, you would think, yeah. And he's like, yeah, it's true. Can you absolutely know it's true? He's like, yeah, I can absolutely know it's true. Who would you be without that thought? So think about that. If you didn't stress about money, if you didn't stress about being overweight, if you didn't stress about feeling like you don't do enough self-care or self-love, who would you be without the thoughts that stress you out? Who would you be without them? And then he said, free, happy, joyful, at peace. Because it's not what's happening to us in our life. It's how we're thinking or believing about it. So again, Kristen and I, in one of our shows on Elevate, talked about, was it last week? I think it was, PSYOPs, the hypnosis of social conditioning. And I spoke about, Vogue magazines and fashion magazines and crappy magazines when I was young, poring over them as a teenager and wanting to look like all the skinny models and never being one of them, like never, ever, and like constantly wanting it and not achieving it, and then getting fatter and fatter and fatter. The older I get, I just get fatter and fatter and fatter. But, the thought of I'm overweight, I don't look like I'm supposed to look, I don't look like a woman's supposed to look, like who made up that idea that that's what a woman's supposed to look like, that is what beauty looks like? Who made up that idea? Vladi's saying here, I guess you're answering, who would you be without that thought? A playful, joyful, and helpful being. And he says, I hope. Yeah, well, you are. But again, we make up stuff and then we believe it. As Billy said from the Afterlife of Billy Fingers, we make up stuff and then we believe it. Like, let's change some paradigms here. Let's change paradigms. Let's make up more stuff and then believe those and change the way we think about who we are as humans. Again, I think that it was you, Vladi, when we were talking about on the hypnosis of social conditioning. You don't like what you're looking at in the mirror, and the guides came through straight away and they said, what you're looking at in the mirror is not who you are. It's just the clothes that you're wearing in order to have this earth experience or something like that. And if you could identify more with who you are as spirit, as energy, as frequency, as power, as infinite intelligence, and not as your circumstances or your bank account or the image in the mirror. And coming back to Heidi saying self-care, do we really need to have self-care when we are connected to a source that is streaming that beautiful, loving frequency and energy to us and through us all the time, Like that frequency of gratitude and appreciation is such an enlivening, enlightening, healing energy. If we could stop resisting the ideas about us, stop thinking about the ideas about ourselves that I'm not doing this and I'm not getting this and I'm not getting that, and instead turn and say, why am I grateful for this? So I think personally, when you're still struggling with something, it keeps you on the path of enlightenment. When you get everything you want, it's just easy to forget how powerful you are. And it keeps you searching, and it keeps you tuning into shows like this or reading shows like this. It keeps you refining and refining and refining on your spiritual journey, on your enlightenment journey. It keeps you on the path. It's like a commitment to being on the path, your spiritual path, to find that next better vibration, to keep practicing what you know, because it's easy to know it. It's easy to know that I am a genius creator of my reality, and to understand law of attraction and to understand frequency and vibration. But is it easy to actually live it? So that contrast that we bump up against, those ideas, those beliefs, keep us practicing that, I remember driving in traffic. I've also shared this on the show many times, but it's coming to mind. And I had failed. Like, I had made a commitment. Next time something terrible happens to me, I'm not going to stress about it. I'm going to keep my vibration high. I'm going to practice being a genius creator, and I'm going to keep my vibration high and not let the outside circumstances dictate my vibration. This is what the commitment I made to myself. And then something happened, can't remember what, and I got pissed off or angry or frustrated. And I'm like, damn, I didn't do it. And then I'm saying to myself, I can do better next time. I can do better next time. And I remember this like yesterday. It was so many years ago. I'm driving in traffic and I'm turning at the lights. And I'm saying to myself, did I just summon more crap to happen in my life so that I could practice keeping my vibration high regardless of what happens? And as I'm turning, I'm like, I absolutely did. I just said to the universe, send me more crap in my life so I can practice knowing who I am as a genius creator. Because when you have a feathered nest, when everything is, cushy, how do you know how genius you are? How do you know how intelligent you are? How do you know? How do you really live it? How do you understand that you are a genius creator of your reality if you don't have that contrast or that drama to work with your thoughts and power? Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. I've stopped talking. What's Heidi saying is, why am I feeling I would be an arrogant, self-centered? Is it possible my guilt's still apparent? Interesting. I know I have felt guilty for doing things for myself ever since I can remember. That's really interesting. I know I've felt guilty for doing things for myself ever since I can remember. This is a programmed thought form, they're saying. The guides are just tapping in here, Heidi. This is the programmed thought form that you've picked up from your lineage, you've picked up from your family line. Yeah, I'm getting mother. It's going way back. It's something that you have elected as a light worker to work with, to dismantle. And as you dismantle it in your own subconscious, you dismantle it across your whole lineage, both past, present, and future. So this feeling guilty for doing nice things for yourself, I'm going way back, like hundreds of years. Something happened to an ancestor hundreds of years, which evoked this belief. Lots of trauma, lots of abuse, and it's perpetuated. The chain of pain, it's just perpetuated through the lineage. So when you understand, I feel that my mum's side, she's saying, yeah. Let me stay on this thread. Yeah. So it's not true. You know that you're an extension of source energy. I've spoken about this many times, but I had this epiphany again in the catering. I think reading the book Conversation with God, and in the book so many times he says, you are God, we're all God, we are God, we are God, we are God. And I'm really starting to download this idea of being an extension of the source, an extension of this brilliant, creative, intelligent energy, and not being the negative thoughts I have about myself. So when you start to embody that and you stop feeling guilty for loving yourself, as much as your soul loves you, or as, if you want to use the word, God or your angels or your guides or your family, as much as you are truly loved, and you start to evoke that love for self. This is when helping people becomes easy. You're not looking to be nurtured or looked after or appreciated. A lot of people do nice things for other people. What time is it? Checking on the time. Because they feel like they need to be appreciated. And then when people don't appreciate them, they get all up in their business, When you come from that place of knowing that you are love, that I am love, again, sitting and meditating and tuning into your source or your guides or your soul or your higher self, and asking them to show you the love that you are. Ask them to really embody that love in yourself. Really appreciating all that you've lived and all that you've been through, and seeing the beauty and the appreciation of living with that thought of, I feel guilty when I do nice things for myself. I don't appreciate myself enough. Like, how has that served you? Well, it put me on my spiritual path. I started reading spiritual book. I started looking to overcome. So all the contrast serves us. I'm going to read this again. What you resist persists. So when you say, I shouldn't be like this, I should love myself more, then you're resisting it. And what you're grateful for will serve you as it was meant to. So can you be grateful for having that thought of feeling, Alison saying, feeling selfish, feeling arrogant? What are you saying here, Alison? At the same time, we confuse assertiveness with aggression. Yep. I have seen, I'm not going to mention any names, people really judge other people harshly who are, really confident people, and they've judged them harshly as being aggressive or too assertive or whatever, because they feel like they really want that confidence, but they don't have it in themselves. So we judge other people based on our own fears, right? So when you can see your fears and be grateful for your fears, like, how can you be grateful for what you've lived, for the fears that you hold, using that power of appreciation or power of gratitude to really look at how it's served you and stop resisting it, saying, I should be different, I shouldn't have this, I should know better, I'm a light worker, I should know better, I should, you should all over yourself. No, it's serving you. How is it serving you? How can you be grateful for it? And as you're thinking about that, I'm going to do a station ID break. Where are we? So, you're listening to Karen Swain, and this show is called Elevate, the Awareness Shift, Waking the Quantum Self. We are on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 107.7. 107.7 and 105.3. And we are talking about FM syndicated radio all over the place, streaming on 8 platforms today on Rumble and Odyssey, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We're talking about the healing power of gratitude and appreciation. And I'm trying to get people to appreciate the things that they resist. Not always easy. This is what I do with my clients. Not always easy, because when we have something we really dislike, we want to talk about it endlessly, why it's wrong, why those people are wrong, why justify why we're upset about it, justify, argue for our limitations. This is the biggest game on earth. Let me argue for let me tell you why. Let me talk about my problems. Let me tell you why I'm upset. Let me tell you why that's wrong. Let me tell you. Instead of understanding how powerful we are and that we have the ability to be grateful for the terrible things in life. I once had a client many years ago who's a beautiful healer who's done amazing work all over the world. She's a little bit older than me, and I was young at the time. I think I was still in my 30s, late 30s. She came to me for a healing. She'd had cancer, and she had healed it, and it was starting to come back. She was worried that it was coming back. Her husband was worried, and so she'd come to me because she was worried. And again, I said to her, can you be thankful for the cancer? And she said to me, what? Can you be grateful that you had the cancer? Like, what did it do for your life? How did it deepen your healing journey, your own healing journey, as well as you being a healer? And she said, wow, I have never thought about it like that before. I had never thought about being grateful for the cancer. And I remember just watching this epiphany, this paradigm shift she was going through. And this is what I want you to go through too. Can you think about the things that you're struggling with, or even the things that are happening in the world, the people you don't like, the politicians or the corruption, and can you find appreciation and gratitude for it? Not always easy, but paradigm shifting. Paradigm shifting. What are you saying here, darling one? At times it's fun to play around with a set budget, and it helps me to understand in which situations some of my friends and other people are. Yeah, interesting. I think it's talking about money, struggling with money, finding gratitude for feeling poor, for having no money. Again, there's a beautiful channeling by Saint Germain through this woman back in the 90s, and he says something like, money is first found in the mind before it finds itself in the purse, or created in the mind before it finds itself in the purse. I'm messing up this quote, but the understanding is abundance is something you feel. And when you feel abundant, then abundance comes to you. It's not how much you struggle or work hard or stress about money or worry about money or wonder where your next job is going to come from or wonder where the money is going to come from. Money was like my biggest lesson in life. I struggled for so many years around money. And having that deep struggle, I'm so grateful for that struggle. There were times when I was a single mum and I went to the supermarket and buying stuff, and then I didn't have the money to pay for what I'm having to put stuff back and feeling embarrassed, that sort of stuff, and sitting at home crying, not knowing how I was going to pay the bills, trying to carve out a career as a healer and then trying to get a mainstream job and also look after a child and, yada, 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 pity me party. But again, knowing that abundance was something found in frequency rather than in what you were doing. Another lesson I had from my guides. During one of these times, my daughter was about 8. I'm still in my 30s, late 30s. This is after the first time when I talked about sitting on the couch and appreciating the trees moving in the wind. That was my first understanding of the power of gratitude. And this was an even deeper lesson that my guides were giving me about trust. So I owed thousands of dollars, car payment, rent, this Visa card, all this stuff. Husband wasn't paying any alimony or whatever you call it, maintenance, we call it here in Australia. The jobs had dried up, still working. I was working as a healer, wasn't getting enough clients to pay the bills. And I had a client who had inherited a lot of money. We had become friends. And I'm sitting stressing one day. And I'm asking my guides, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of this? Wanting to get the paper back in the days where we got papers to look at for jobs. I was feeling like I wasn't making ends meet with the healing work. And they said, we want you to stop stressing, and we're giving you a potent lesson in trust. Do you trust that you're looked after? Do you trust? Do you really trust that you're looked after? And I'm like, no, I have to look after myself. Like, we're giving you this powerful lesson in trust. And I think that they literally said, go to the beach. Or maybe I was listening to Esther Hicks and they're saying, raise your vibration, go to the beach. But the beach was in my consciousness. And then this girlfriend rings up and she says, what are you doing today? And I'm thinking, all I need to do is find a job. She said, would you like to come to the beach? And I'm like, are you kidding? And my guide said, whatever you do, don't complain about your problem and don't ask for help. And so I go to the beach with this friend and she keeps hassling me. Are you getting enough work? Have you got enough clients? Are you making enough money? The guide specifically said to me, don't ask for help. Don't talk about your problems and enjoy yourself. And I'm trying to enjoy myself at the beach. And this girlfriend of mine, who, as I said, had been a client, she was now a friend. She'd inherited a lot of money. Long story short, insisted on giving me $5,000, not as a loan. And I never asked her for money. In fact, I refused the money. No, I'm fine. I don't need your money. And she just insisted. She was inspired by spirit to do that. And she was listening to that inspirational vibration. And I was doing what I was told. I wasn't complaining about my problems. I was trying to enjoy myself. And I just kept saying, I'm having a powerful lesson in trust. And that was such a powerful lesson that Even when you're stressing out, you're still looked after. Do you know that? Do you really know that you're looked after? Do you really know that even when you're stressing out, you're still loved and everything can come to you? Your part in all of this is to just shift your vibration. Even if you just move out of the worry into, like, gratitude on the emotional scale is quite high up. It's not one of the highest vibrations. It's quite high up. Even anger is quite high up. Stress and worry is below anger. When you get frustrated or even angry about something, like, feel it. It shifts your vibration. It tunes you into, anger can sort of tune you into feeling a bit more powerful than feeling disempowered in your situation. How is it going to work? Where is it going to come from? How am I going to do this? All these questions. And sometimes when you get angry, it shifts you out of that, and then you can move into acceptance. Acceptance is the bridge, moving from negative to positive, from dense vibration to higher vibration, when you can accept what is and then find gratitude. Now you're rocketing. Now you're moving your vibration. Byron Katie says, arguing with reality is futile. What's she saying? I've forgotten her quote now. When you argue with reality, here we go. When you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. Like, I love that, because what is. No money in your bank account, that's what is. Overweight, that's what is. Feeling disempowered, that's what is. Stop arguing with it and start accepting it. And as soon as you accept it, this is who I am. Like, own it. This is how it happens. Then you can move out of that acceptance to a higher frequency of appreciation and gratitude. And when you find that frequency in yourself, let me tell you, life can shift in a moment. You can change your timeline. You can tap into your powers of genius creation. Yes, that's what is, Heidi says. So I keep stop talking because for people listening on radio, on the audio podcast, I'm stopping talking because I'm alone and I'm reading the comments. What are you saying, Hidang? In the last year or so, I have let go the uncomfortable feels with struggling with money, and a few times now a bill would be due and I called to pay and there was credit, triple what the bill was. Wow. I've had this conversation. I remember driving up to Byron Bay with a girlfriend. We were talking about pennies from heaven. I think I'll do an Elevate show, call it Pennies from Heaven. We talked about the miraculous way money comes. When we think about how money's going to come, do we inherit it? Do we work for it? Do we have to win the lottery? We've got a finite idea of how money's going to come to us, of how abundance is going to come to us. And when you tune into the energy of abundance, and abundance, the energy of abundance is the energy of appreciation. When you're appreciating stuff, you feel abundant. When you're appreciating stuff, you feel grateful. That energy of gratitude and appreciation is that energy of abundance. When you feel grateful, you give. And so that's that energy of, like, let me give you flowers, let me cook you dinner, let me pay, let me give money to charity, let me give, because that's that energy of abundance. And when you have that energy of abundance and you give from that place, life gives back to you. And so, yeah, we were talking about money from heaven, and she used to be an accountant. She's since transitioned. She had a healing journey. She'll come back as a healer. She'd say, yeah, that's right. She had a lot of lessons in this lifetime. She died reasonably young of cancer, and she was on this intense healing journey, which I'm not going to say she lost, because she lost her life. She learned a lot, and then she finished, and she'll come back and probably continue being a healer in her next lifetime. But we were talking about how she had owed the tax department lots of money, and she rang the tax department, and the tax department said, oh, no, we owe you $10,000, and gave her $10,000. Or maybe, I can't get this, maybe it was the bank, and they put $10,000 in her bank account or something, or we owe you this money or something. And she said, no, this isn't mine. And she was arguing with them, and they wouldn't take it back. And she was like, I just had to accept it, that they gave me this $10,000. I can't remember if it was the tax department or the bank, but some institution that usually wants to take your money was giving her like $10,000. So we were talking about all these stories of how money came miraculously and didn't make sense. So think about that. You actually don't need to know the details of how abundance and money is going to come to you. Just tune into the energy of gratitude, the energy of appreciation, not just for what you love in life, but appreciate all the traumas that you've been through, all the lessons that you've had. Like, I really appreciate that I've got no money. I really appreciate that I've struggled so long with this. I'm really grateful for all the lessons I've learned as I've struggled with this, and it's kept me on my path, reaching out to know more, reaching out to refine my energy, reaching out to understand who I am as source energy, as frequency and vibration, experiencing a third dimensional physical life experience. I'm really grateful for all the lessons I've had in this physical life. Be grateful, use that power of gratitude for all the struggles that you've had in your life, and watch how your life transforms. Like, watch. Not always easy to do. You don't have to get it right. As I was saying with Kristen last time, being overweight has been a struggle all my life. And when I look in the mirror and see a form that I don't want, because I want a slimmer, healthier form, can I be grateful for the form I've got? Haven't always managed to crack that one. But, you know, it's still on the table. It's still there to do. What are you saying, Alison? Thank you, darling. You too. Oh, I think Alison's talking to Alison. She's talking to Heidi. Goosebumps. Oh, have I missed something that you've said? Trying to talk to you. Here we go. Found it. Yes, I had that happen to me to Heidi. Oh, they're talking about themselves. Trouble sustaining the frequency. That's my issue and frustration. Well, as I said, when you do something, oh, okay, they're giving me the image of a baby who's learning to walk. When you're learning something and you don't always master it, you just get up and try again. It's like there's a little baby who falls down. Maybe they crack their head and cry. Maybe they cry when they fall down. Learning to walk. Like, they just keep going until they get it. They just keep going. This is the same with this work. As I said, I was in the car when I realized that I had asked the universe to bring me more troubles in my life, more problems, more struggle, more drama, so that I could practice holding a frequency, holding a higher frequency, and not letting the outside circumstances or even my inside circumstances dictate how I feel. And that's what we're all doing here. We're bumping up against contrast or polarity, and we're learning how to sustain frequency. And the galactic mob are just tuning in, the ETs, and they're saying, yeah, this is what we've had to do. They say that we are teaching humanity because we've been where you are, and we've learned to master mind, master mood, master frequency, and we're able to heal our body at will. If there's any accidents, they don't really deal with, I'm looking at sort of Arcturian beings, I'm looking at grey beings, I'm looking at Palladian beings, I'm looking at higher consciousness beings, because there's many beings across the universe, but I'm looking at a mob. They don't really deal with illness because they understand frequency, but there are accidents, and they know how to, they know how to heal the body instantly through frequency, not using drugs or pills or any apparatus, just the power of frequency. Joe Dispenza teaches this too, the power of frequency, and using that frequency to reconstruct the body, accelerate the healing, reconstruction of the body. They're showing me. I've done this many times. What time is it? 3 minutes, 7 minutes to go. When I've hurt myself, I've seen cuts heal immediately. I've seen bumps go down. I've seen the body accelerate pain, accelerate healing when I appreciate the pain that I'm in, when I appreciate or I'm grateful for what I've done. And then I've seen it be slow. I've said this again many times on the show. When I fall down or do something stupid, if I beat up on myself or if I blame somebody else, you shouldn't have put that there. That was dangerous. You've done this to me, or I'm an idiot. I should have known better. I knew that was there. I shouldn't have tripped over it. I shouldn't have fallen. Silly me. Like, when we're in resistance, the pain lasts longer and the healing is slower. But when we can find gratitude, as I said, a friend of mine broke a leg recently, and she's always running around doing a million things for a million people and putting on beautiful events, and sometimes things like this just stop us. They stop us from running around doing for others, and they make us go inward. Can we find that gratitude for having that time to really be with ourselves? It stops us from running around doing for others when we're thinking, I should be there for myself, I should be there for myself, I should be there for myself. Sometimes accidents are beautiful times to retreat and be there for yourself. We're all where we are supposed to be on our individual journeys. Absolutely. Thank you for this conversation. Yes, thank you, thank you. I must be a slow learner. Says, no, you're not, darling. You're not a slow learner. You're just a learner. You elected to come here to have this experience. I feel like I'm lying to myself when I try to be thankful for all the struggles. Interesting, Vladdy. This is a good comment. I've been through. I guess I have to be more honest and to let go. Okay, I feel like I'm lying to myself. Absolutely. This is again coming back to the work of Byron Katie. When she says, is it true? Like when the man said, I want my cancer to go away. And she said, is it true? He's like, yeah. And when she asks him to turn it around, like 4 questions in a turnaround, I don't want my cancer to go away. And she says, yeah, tell me why you don't want your cancer to go away. So this is where the work is. You are lying to yourself until you find reasons why the statement is true, like why the statement is true. So the man with cancer says, why don't I want my cancer to go away? Give me 5 reasons why that statement's more true than I want my cancer to go away. He said, well, I've never been more present in my whole life than I've been during my cancer journey. I've never liked my wife more than I have during my cancer journey. I've never looked at life and been appreciative for the little things more, as he said, more present and more appreciative just for the little things than I have during this cancer journey. Like his whole life shifted from being this high-powered businessman to being totally present in the moment, focused on healing, focused on love, focused on life in a whole different way because he went through this illness. And so then when he found the reasons, he stopped lying. He wasn't lying to himself when he said, I don't want my cancer to go away. He could find the appreciation. And this is what we think when we appreciate something or we're grateful for something. We think that when we're grateful for something we don't want, we're going to keep it in our lives. That's what we think. But the opposite is true. I'm going to post this in the chat. Because what we resist persists, and what we are grateful for serves us as it was meant to. So when we can find the gratitude for the struggles in our life, when we can find the appreciation for them, they serve us in the way they were meant to. And then they don't need to be there anymore. So when we're grateful for illness or weight or money problems, we dissolve the reason for them being there and they just magically disappear. And then something else comes that we have to deal with. And so the thought form is, or the lie is, if I'm grateful for something I don't want, then I'm going to keep it in my life. But actually, gratitude and appreciation dissolves drama, dissolves distortion. Gratitude and appreciation dissolves distraction. It dissolves the dysfunction, the imbalance in your life. Yeah, let me know how you go this week. In a week of focusing on gratitude and appreciation because of Thanksgiving coming up. Again, Heidi says she loves this convo. Thanks, darling one. The convo was from my soul. Gratitude to Karen. Oh, you're going to make me cry. Yeah, Heidi, some days it's harder to accept than other days, I guess. Yep. Don't beat up on yourself if you don't get it right. Just find that reason why it served you. Like, how has this served me? Just keep asking that question. Your soul will give you the answer. Your inner being, your guides will give you the answer. How has this served me? If you can't find the answer straight away because you're an ego and you're going, I really don't want this. Yeah, no, I know. Like, how has this served me? And keep asking, how has it served me? And the answers come. And when the answers come, they will speak to your soul. And when you embody those answers as your truth, then it won't feel like a lie anymore. It won't feel like a lie. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. What's Heidi saying here? Worry won't change the situation is something I think. Yes, worry doesn't change the situation. Worry just keeps it there. Worry is creating something that you don't want. Worry is using your powerful genius powers of creation to keep something you don't want in place. When you're grateful for it, it transforms, it transmutes. If you want more information or if you have questions that you want answered on the show, Elevate, hopefully Kristen will come back next week. It's week to week that we decide what to talk about on each show. Kristen said to me at the end of last show, what are we going to talk about next week? And she said, Thanksgiving's coming up. And I said, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about gratitude and being thankful. I hope you all enjoy your Thanksgiving over in the US. I know Canada had Thanksgiving back in October. And I'm going to celebrate Thanksgiving in my own way here in Australia, even though it's not a holiday we celebrate. We've got to start to create new secular holidays that we can all celebrate as a global community. Come up with some ideas, celebrating psychic awareness or being mystical, or, let's hijack Halloween and hijack Thanksgiving and create new celebrations that we can celebrate the beauty of who we are, the intelligence. Send me your questions to karenswain.com or send me an email if you've been enjoying the shows. I'd love to hear to all those thousands of people listening through the radio network. I never get any emails from you. Let me know if you're listening, and big love to you. Mwah! Thanks, everybody in the chat. Love you all. Bloody Heidi, Alison, Leslie. Gosh, all these amazing people. Catch you next time.